Nobody, and I mean nobody, was ready for what Aaron Pierre just revealed. For months, fans have been asking the same question over and over again. What really happened between him and Teyana Taylor? Because let's be honest, this wasn't just another celebrity breakup. This was that couple. The kind you look at and think, yeah, they're endgame. But then silence. No drama. No scandal. No cheating rumors. Just gone. And that's exactly what made it suspicious. Because in Hollywood, when something ends this cleanly, it's almost never the full story. Now here's where things get intense. In a moment that insiders are calling too honest for comfort, Aaron Pierre finally broke his silence, and what he said didn't just surprise people, it completely changed the narrative. Sources close to the situation are now hinting that this wasn't just about timing like we were told. No, according to what's coming out now, Aaron didn't just choose to walk away. He felt like he had no choice. Let that sink in. No choice to leave someone he was clearly deeply connected to. No choice to shut the door on something that looked painfully real. So what could possibly force a man like Aaron Pierre, private, reserved, and extremely intentional, to walk away from a woman like Teyana Taylor at the height of everything? Was it pressure? Was it something happening behind the scenes? Or was there a truth so complicated they had no choice but to hide it? Because trust me, what you're about to hear next changes everything. When you look at Aaron Pierre and Teyana Taylor, nothing about their story was supposed to end like this. In fact, if you rewind just a few months back, everything about them screamed perfect timing. Perfect chemistry. Perfect alignment. But that's exactly what makes this situation so unsettling, because behind that picture-perfect image, something else was quietly building. Something the public didn't fully see, at least, not at first. You see, before the headlines, before the speculation, before fans started dissecting every move they made, both Aaron and Teyana were already moving through very different worlds. Aaron, known for being intensely private, almost guarded with his personal life, had built a reputation as someone who never lets the outside noise dictate his decisions. He was the kind of man who disappears into his work, who processes everything internally, who doesn't chase attention, even when attention chases him. Teyana, on the other hand, was entering one of the most powerful phases of her career. After years of being overlooked, she was finally getting the recognition people had been saying she deserved all along. Every red carpet, every performance, every appearance, it felt like the industry was finally catching up to her energy. And that's where things started to shift. Because while the world saw two people rising together, insiders are now suggesting that behind the scenes, they were actually being pulled in completely opposite directions. At first, it was subtle. Missed events. Separate appearances. Moments where fans expected to see them together, but didn't. And when they were seen together, there was something different. Not obvious. Not dramatic. Just off. And here's the part that really changed everything. According to a source who claims to have been around them during one of their last private meetups, there was a conversation, a serious one, that neither of them was ready to have, but both of them knew was coming. A conversation about time, priorities, and the kind of life they were each stepping into. And whatever was said in that moment, it didn't bring them closer. It created a distance they couldn't ignore anymore. But what exactly was said in that conversation, and why did it hit Aaron Pierre so hard that he felt like walking away was the only option left? Because what happened next was where everything truly started to fall apart. It didn't explode overnight. That's what makes this even more unsettling. Because while the public was still holding onto the idea that Aaron Pierre and Teyana Taylor were just keeping things low-key, behind closed doors, everything was already starting to crack. And then came the moment insiders now describe as the breaking point. It allegedly happened after a high-profile industry event, one of those nights where everyone who matters is in the same room. Cameras flashing, energy high, careers being celebrated. But according to multiple whispers circulating online, what should have been a perfect night turned into something else entirely. Because instead of leaving together, like many expected, Aaron and Teyana reportedly ended up in a tense, private exchange that no one fully witnessed, but everyone felt. Now here's where things take a turn. A so-called leaked message began making rounds in certain online circles shortly after that night. No official confirmation, no direct source, but the wording? It was enough to send fans into a spiral. The message allegedly read, "I can't keep showing up halfway. It's not fair to you, and it's not who I am." And just like that, everything changed. Because if that message is even partially real, it doesn't sound like anger. It doesn't sound like betrayal. It sounds like someone pulling away before things break even worse. But wait, this is where it gets even deeper. Another insider claimed that Aaron had been struggling quietly for weeks leading up to that moment. Not with Teyana herself, but with everything surrounding them. The pressure, the constant attention, the feeling of being watched, analyzed, compared every single time they stepped out together. And for someone like him, someone who has always valued control, privacy, and emotional clarity, that kind of environment doesn't just feel uncomfortable, it feels suffocating. Meanwhile, Teyana was stepping into rooms where the spotlight wasn't optional, it was expected. Her world was expanding fast. Bigger stages, bigger moments, bigger expectations. Two people, two realities, moving faster and faster in different directions. And that's when the real questions started to surface, one that no one wanted to say out loud. Was this relationship ever built to survive the level they were both reaching? Or were they holding on to something that the timing itself was already tearing apart? Because if you think that message was the end of it, what surfaced next made the situation even more complicated than anyone imagined. If you thought things couldn't get more complicated, this is where everything spiraled. Because just when fans were trying to process that cryptic message, social media did what it always does. It started digging. And what people began to uncover didn't just raise eyebrows, it completely shifted the narrative around Aaron Pierre and Teyana Taylor. Clips from past interviews resurfaced. Old red carpet moments were suddenly being analyzed frame by frame. And then one particular video started going viral. In the clip, Aaron is seen being asked about balancing personal life and career. At the time, his answer seemed calm, almost philosophical. But now, people are hearing it very differently. He said, "Not everything meaningful can survive every season of your life." And just like that, the internet lost it. Because now, fans are convinced that wasn't just a general statement. That was a warning. A quiet admission that something behind the scenes was already slipping away. But it didn't stop there. A viral thread, allegedly from someone claiming to have connections within the industry, started gaining traction fast. The thread suggested that Aaron had been turning down certain appearances, not because he didn't want to support Teyana, but because he was trying to protect something deeper, his own sense of identity in a relationship that was becoming increasingly public, increasingly intense, and increasingly difficult to navigate. And then came the backlash. Some fans immediately took Teyana's side, arguing that she deserved someone who could stand beside her fully, especially during one of the biggest moments of her career. Others defended Aaron, saying not everyone is built for that level of exposure, and forcing it could destroy both the relationship and the person. The comments turned into debates. The debates turned into arguments. And suddenly, what started as a quiet breakup became a full-blown conversation about ambition, sacrifice, and what people are actually willing to lose for love. But here's where it gets even more intense. Because in the middle of all this noise, both Aaron and Teyana stayed silent. No direct responses. No clarifications. No attempts to control the narrative. And that silence? It didn't calm anything down. It made people question even more. Because when two people who were once so openly connected suddenly go completely quiet, it doesn't feel like closure. It feels like there's something still being protected. Something that hasn't been said. Something that maybe changes everything. And if you think the story ends here, you're not ready for what insiders are now hinting might still be coming next. And just like that, the entire industry lit up. What started as quiet speculation suddenly turned into a full-blown storm, with Aaron Pierre and Teyana Taylor at the center of it all. Every platform, every blog, every gossip page, every reaction channel was asking the same question: what really happened? Because now, people weren't just reacting, they were choosing sides. On one side, fans were rallying behind Teyana, saying she gave everything to the relationship during one of the most important phases of her life. Comments flooded in like, she deserved someone who could match her energy. He knew what he was getting into, why walk away now? But then, the other side came in just as strong. Supporters of Aaron pushed back hard, arguing that not every man is built to live under constant pressure and public scrutiny. That walking away wasn't weakness, it was honesty. That staying in something you can't fully show up for is the real damage. And just like that, the internet split in two. Then came the celebrities. Subtle posts, cryptic tweets, indirect comments that didn't name names but didn't need to. One artist tweeted, "Timing is the silent killer of real love." Another posted, "Protect your peace, even if it costs you everything." Fans immediately connected the dots. Screenshots spread like wildfire. Everyone had a theory. Everyone had an interpretation. Even media outlets started framing it differently. What was once a mutual split was now being described as an emotional fallout. A quiet collapse. A relationship that didn't end because it lacked love, but because it couldn't survive the weight of everything around it. And the more people talked about it, the heavier it felt. Because deep down, this wasn't just celebrity gossip anymore. It became a reflection of something real. Something uncomfortable. The idea that sometimes, even when two people care about each other deeply, life pulls them in directions that love alone can't fix. But here's the part that kept the tension alive. Despite all the noise, all the opinions, all the viral debates, neither Aaron nor Teyana stepped in to correct anything. Not a single direct statement. Not a single denial. And that silence? It didn't settle the story. It made it feel unfinished. Because when the entire world is speaking for you, and you choose not to speak back, it usually means one thing. The real story is still being held back. Just when everyone thought the drama had peaked, the final twist dropped like a thunderbolt. Sources close to the couple whispered to insiders that there was more than just timing at play, something no one saw coming. Apparently, during the height of their whirlwind romance, Pierre was secretly offered a life-changing franchise deal, something that would require him to vanish from public events, press circuits, and social media for months. It wasn't just work, it was a career-defining, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And the timing? It collided perfectly with Teyana Taylor's own career explosion. Golden Globe nods, viral album releases, and headline-grabbing performances. Two careers, both on fire, both needing undivided focus. The twist? Aaron didn't want to tell Teyana at first. He kept it private, thinking he could balance love and opportunity. But insiders say the pressure was crushing. Leaked messages, allegedly sent between Aaron and his closest friends, hint at late-night panic, whispered fears, and confessions of feeling overshadowed by brilliance he couldn't compete with publicly. And then, the kicker. One unnamed source claims there was a third factor no one expected, a mysterious Hollywood producer allegedly advising Aaron that staying in the relationship could compromise everything. The warning? Vague, but the implication is explosive. Some are speculating this third-party pressure might have pushed him over the edge, accelerating the breakup. Social media exploded the second these rumors leaked. Fans on Twitter went into meltdown mode. Threads read, "Wait, are you telling me someone actually told Aaron to leave her? This is bigger than I thought. Timing was only part of it." The layers to this are insane. How deep does it go? Celebrities, influencers, and gossip accounts jumped on it immediately. Cryptic comments from stars who know the industry too well suggested that the situation was more strategic than romantic, yet emotionally devastating. And here's the cliffhanger that no one was ready for. Sources hint that Aaron and Teyana may have had a private conversation after the split, where both acknowledged that the timing, the careers, and external pressures could have been manipulated. Could there be reconciliation under different circumstances? Or is this truly a permanent end? One thing is clear, the story is far from over. The world has only seen the public layer. What's hidden behind the closed doors of Hollywood meetings, private texts, and career-altering decisions is a story that could change everything we thought we knew about Pierre and Teyana Taylor. The question everyone is asking now, Is the breakup really over, or is there a shocking sequel waiting to surface? Stay tuned, because what happens next could rewrite the narrative entirely. Alright everyone, now it's your turn. What do you think really happened behind the scenes? Did Aaron Pierre truly have no choice, or is there something deeper that the public hasn't seen yet? Drop your theories in the comments, because we want all the tea. Hit that like button if this story shocked you, because let's be honest, who saw this coming? And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell, because awards season keeps throwing Aaron and Teyana into the same rooms, and the next chapter of this saga could blow the roof off Hollywood. Tell us, would you have walked away if you were in Aaron's shoes? Or do you think Teyana could have been the one to make it work? Be honest, be dramatic, and let's get this conversation going. And here's a little teaser. Insiders say there's more footage, more messages, and more secrets that might surface soon. So if you thought this was the finale, think again. Stay tuned, because the next update could completely change everything you think you know about Aaron Pierre and Teyana Taylor. Remember, in Hollywood, nothing is ever truly over, and this story is just getting started. Comment, like, subscribe, and get ready for the next explosive update. You won't want to miss it.